If you thought part one was iconic, part two takes it even further. Because these aren't just beautiful dresses, these are the looks that changed the way we see red carpet fashion. The ones that broke the rules, took risks, and ended up becoming unforgettable moments in pop culture. Some of these looks were controversial, some were ahead of their time, and some were so perfect they've never been topped. So get ready, because these are the Oscar looks that truly defined fashion history. Winona Ryder, 1994. Let's start with a look that proved vintage can steal the entire spotlight. When Winona Ryder stepped onto the 1994 Oscars red carpet, she chose a vintage champagne-colored flapper-style dress that felt completely different from everything else that night. The gown had a delicate 1920s silhouette, covered in intricate beading, sequins, and soft fringe that shimmered with every move, giving it that effortless old Hollywood charm. Sourced from the iconic archive Lily at Sea, the dress had this rare, one-of-a-kind feel that made it even more special. The soft champagne tone looked almost luminous against her skin, making the whole look feel subtle but unforgettable. And fun detail, she was actually nervous the entire time about sitting down because the beading was so fragile. There's even that famous story about her wearing a $10 vintage dress to the Oscars, which just adds to the legend. This wasn't about luxury, it was about taste, and that's exactly why it still stands out today. Elizabeth Hurley, 1994. And then came a moment that didn't happen at the Oscars, but still changed fashion forever. When Elizabeth Hurley stepped out in 1994 at the Four Weddings and a Funeral premiere, she didn't just arrive, she literally changed fashion history overnight. Wearing that now legendary black Versace safety pin dress by Gianni Versace, she went from almost unknown to global superstar in one night. The gown was held together by oversized gold safety pins, with daring cutouts, a plunging neckline, and slim straps that made it feel bold, risky, and completely unforgettable. It was inspired by a mix of neo-punk energy and even elements of the Indian sari, which made it feel edgy, but still elegant. And the craziest part? She wore it because she had nothing else. And Versace was the only brand willing to dress her last minute. Walking alongside Hugh Grant, she completely stole the spotlight. This wasn't just a dress. It was a career-defining moment that proved one outfit can change everything. Sharon Stone, 1998. Now this is what happens when someone breaks every red carpet rule. When Sharon Stone arrived at the 1998 Oscars, everyone expected a traditional glamorous gown, but instead she showed up in something no one saw coming. A simple white button-down shirt from Gap paired with a luxurious lavender satin skirt by Vera Wang. And somehow, it worked perfectly. The crisp shirt gave it a relaxed, almost effortless vibe, especially with the rolled-up sleeves and slightly open collar, while the satin skirt brought all the elegance and drama you expect from the Oscars. It was the perfect mix of casual and couture, masculine and feminine, simple but still incredibly powerful. And then came that hidden detail, a vintage diamond dragonfly brooch pinned at the back, adding this unexpected touch of sparkle that made the whole look feel even more special. At the time, critics didn't fully understand it, but today, it's seen as one of the most iconic cool girl moments in Oscar history. This wasn't just a fashion choice, it was a statement, and it proved that sometimes the most unforgettable looks are the ones that break every single rule. Cate Blanchett, 1999. From rule-breaking to pure artistry, this next look was ahead of its time. When Cate Blanchett made her Oscars debut in 1999, nominated for Elizabeth, she didn't play it safe like most first-time nominees. Instead, she showed up in this bold, artistic Dior gown designed by John Galliano, and it instantly set her apart. From the front, it looked simple, a dark purple, almost black, body-hugging silhouette with a clean scoop neckline. But then she turned around, and that's where the magic happened. The entire back featured a sheer panel with a beautifully embroidered hummingbird in flight surrounded by delicate flowers and butterflies, like a piece of art stitched into fabric. It felt symbolic, almost storytelling, representing transformation and growth, just like her role in Elizabeth. She kept the styling minimal with a bold red lip and sleek hair, letting the dress do all the talking. At the time, people saw it as risky and unconventional, but today it's considered one of the most iconic and artistic Oscar looks ever. This wasn't just fashion, it was a statement that Cate Blanchett was here to be different. Michelle Yeoh, 2001. And then came a look that told a story beyond fashion. When Michelle Yeoh stepped onto the 2001 Oscars red carpet, she brought something deeply personal and powerful in this custom gown by Hong Kong designer Barney Ching. Inspired by Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the dress featured a bold tiger stripe pattern woven through gold, silver, and black beading, instantly making it stand out from everything else that night. The silhouette itself was sleek and high-necked, giving it that elegant, controlled shape, but the intricate detailing added a wild, almost cinematic energy. Every inch of the gown was hand-sewn with crystals and sequins, which made it look light and effortless on camera, but in reality, it was incredibly heavy. And that contrast made it even more impressive, because she carried it so gracefully it looked like she was floating. Walking alongside her co-star Chow Yun-fat, the whole moment felt like a celebration of the film's global success. Hilary Swank, 2005. Now this is how you surprise everyone without saying a word. When Hilary Swank arrived at the 2005 Oscars, the night she won Best Actress for Million Dollar Baby, she stepped out in this deep navy Guy Laroche gown that looked simple at first glance, until she turned around. The front was completely modest, with a high neckline and long sleeves, giving it that classic old Hollywood feel. But the back? Completely open, dramatically low, and absolutely unforgettable. It revealed her toned physique in the most powerful, confident way, especially after her physically intense role in the film. The dress hugged her body perfectly, creating the sleek, sculpted silhouette that felt both strong and feminine. And what makes it even crazier is that this wasn't even her original choice. She switched to this dress last minute, and it ended up becoming one of the most iconic Oscar looks ever. This wasn't just a gown, it was a moment that proved sometimes less from the front can mean everything from the back. Keira Knightley, 2006. From bold impact to quiet elegance, this one did both effortlessly. When Keira Knightley arrived at the 2006 Oscars, she wore this rich plum-colored Vera Wang gown that instantly stood out without trying too hard. The one-shoulder design gave it a modern edge, while the structured taffeta fabric added that classic, slightly dramatic volume. The dress followed a sleek, mermaid silhouette, hugging her body before flaring out into a fishtail skirt, which was a huge trend at the time, but she made it feel timeless. And then came the real statement piece, that bold vintage Bulgari necklace from the 1960s, filled with colorful stones that added contrast and personality to the deep, moody tone of the dress. She kept the styling effortless with a loose ponytail and minimal makeup, letting the gown and jewelry shine. But what makes this look even more special is what happened after. She donated the dress to Oxfam, and it was auctioned to raise money for charity. Nicole Kidman, 2007. And then came a look that proved one detail can define everything. When Nicole Kidman stepped onto the 2007 Oscars red carpet, she made an unforgettable statement in this bold scarlet Balenciaga gown designed by Nicolas Ghesquière. The dress had a sleek sculptural column shape that felt clean and modern, but the real magic was in the details. That halter neckline tied into a dramatic oversized bow at the side of her neck, instantly turning a simple silhouette into something striking and high fashion. And then those long, flowing streamers cascading down like a train added movement and elegance with every step she took. The rich red color against her strawberry blonde hair was already powerful, but she elevated it even more with a matching crimson lip that pulled the whole look together perfectly. She kept the accessories sharp and minimal, with bold diamond cuffs and a structured Bottega Veneta clutch, letting the dress stay the focus. Marion Cotillard, 2008. Now this is where fashion turns into pure craftsmanship. When Marion Cotillard arrived at the 2008 Oscars to win Best Actress for La Vie en Rose, she wore this breathtaking Jean-Paul Gaultier couture gown that looked more like art than a dress. The ivory and silver design followed a perfect mermaid silhouette, hugging her body before flaring out into a dramatic fishtail. But what truly made it unforgettable was the detailing. The entire gown was covered in hand-embroidered fish scale patterns, giving it this shimmering, almost liquid effect under the lights. The corset-style bodice added structure, while the textured finish made the whole look feel rich and dimensional. And the level of work behind it was insane. Hand-sewn over 180 hours by multiple artisans. This wasn't just fashion, it was craftsmanship at its highest level, and that's exactly why it's still considered one of the most iconic Oscar looks ever. Anne Hathaway, 2009. From texture to pure glow, this next look lit up the red carpet. When Anne Hathaway arrived at the 2009 Oscars as a Best Actress nominee for Rachel Getting Married, she delivered one of the most flawless looks of her career in this shimmering Armani Privé gown. The strapless, body-skimming silhouette hugged her perfectly, creating that elegant, elongated shape. The entire dress was covered in Swarovski crystals, sequins, and paillettes arranged in this soft gradient that caught the light from every angle, making her look like she was literally glowing. It had this almost liquid, mirror-like effect that felt luxurious without being overwhelming. She styled it perfectly with a sleek side bun, a bold red lip, and stunning Cartier diamond jewelry that added just the right amount of sparkle. Everything about this look felt polished, balanced, and timeless. This wasn't just a beautiful dress. It was one of those rare moments where every single detail came together perfectly. Angelina Jolie, 2012. And then came a moment that the internet would never forget. When Angelina Jolie stepped onto the 2012 Oscars red carpet, she wore a sleek black velvet Atelier Versace gown that was all about drama, confidence, and one unforgettable pose. The dress itself was elegant and minimal at first glance, with a strapless silhouette and sculpted bodice. But then came that legendary thigh-high slit. And not just any slit, this was bold, exaggerated, and impossible to ignore. The moment she kept posing with her right leg pushed forward, it took over the internet and turned into the viral #Angie's right leg moment that everyone still remembers. She kept the styling classic with soft, voluminous waves, a red lip, and simple Neil Lane diamond jewelry, letting the dress and the attitude do all the work. Paired with black Salvatore Ferragamo heels, the whole look felt powerful, controlled, and effortlessly iconic. This wasn't just fashion, it was a moment of pure confidence that turned into pop culture history. Reese Witherspoon, 2015. Now this is how you keep it simple and still look unforgettable. When Reese Witherspoon stepped onto the 2015 Oscars red carpet, she went for a clean, classic aesthetic in this custom Tom Ford gown that instantly stood out for all the right reasons. The dress had this soft, ice blue tone that almost looked white under the lights, giving it a fresh, polished feel, while the black velvet detailing at the neckline and waist added just the right amount of contrast. The off-the-shoulder cut framed her perfectly, and that cinched waist created a super flattering, structured silhouette that felt both modern and timeless. But then she elevated the entire look with over $3 million worth of Tiffany and Company diamonds, adding serious luxury without overwhelming the simplicity of the dress. Her hair was styled in soft, classic waves with a clean side part, and the makeup stayed neutral and glowing. This wasn't loud or dramatic, but it didn't need to be. It was confident, refined, and effortlessly elegant, the kind of look that never goes out of style. Margot Robbie, 2018. This look is the definition of modern elegance done right. When Margot Robbie arrived at the 2018 Oscars as a Best Actress nominee for I, Tonya, she wore a custom white Chanel haute couture gown designed by Karl Lagerfeld, and it instantly gave that clean, high-fashion energy. The strapless column silhouette was sleek and structured, creating a super polished look. Around the neckline, there were delicate crystal tubes and signature Chanel camellia flowers, all embroidered in a three-dimensional design that made the dress feel luxurious without being over the top. And the fact that it took over 600 hours to create just shows how intricate it really was. She kept everything fresh and modern with her blunt blonde bob and minimal makeup, letting the dress speak for itself. Even when one of the straps snapped during the night, the look still held its perfection. This wasn't about drama or excess, it was about precision, craftsmanship, and effortless style, and that's exactly why it stands out. Scarlett Johansson, 2020. And then came a look that balanced strength and elegance perfectly. When Scarlett Johansson stepped onto the 2020 Oscars red carpet, she wore a custom Oscar de la Renta gown that felt both powerful and incredibly detailed. The top half was a sheer corset-style bodice with visible structure, giving it that bold, almost architectural feel, while delicate beaded fringe wrapped around her torso and added movement and softness at the same time. Then the dress flowed into a sleek satin skirt with a long train, balancing the strong top with a smooth, elegant finish. The craftsmanship was insane, over 300 hours to create, and you can see that level of detail in every inch. The low back subtly revealed her tattoos, adding a personal touch that made the look feel more modern and real. She elevated everything with around $2.5 million in forever marked diamonds, including stunning drop earrings, and finished it with a soft updo and metallic eye makeup. This wasn't just a gown, it was a perfect mix of strength, elegance, and detail that made it unforgettable. Grace Kelly, 1955. And finally, the moment that defined what Oscar glamour truly is. When Grace Kelly arrived at the 1955 Oscars to win Best Actress, she didn't just wear a beautiful dress, she created one of the most timeless looks in red carpet history. Designed by Edith Head, the gown came in the soft blue champagne shade, somewhere between ice blue and mint, and it looked incredibly luxurious under the lights. Made from rich French silk satin, the dress had a sleek column silhouette with a delicately draped skirt, thin straps, and a subtle train that moved effortlessly. She paired it with long white opera gloves and simple pearl jewelry, proving that elegance doesn't need to be loud to be unforgettable. Her hair was styled in a soft updo with fresh flowers, adding that final touch of classic beauty. At the time, it was one of the most expensive Oscar dresses ever, but what truly made it iconic was its simplicity and grace. This wasn't just fashion, it was the blueprint for red carpet glamour. So that was part 2 of the best Oscar looks of all time, from bold risks to timeless classics that still inspire fashion today. But now it's your turn. Which look was your favorite, and which one do you think deserved number 1? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.